Now, this is the type of news that I love to see. This is the 2026 Toyota MR2 that is rumored for now, but there are some very strong rumors that this is actually going to be put into production. And the thing about Toyota is recently they've dropped so many cool cars. The GR Corolla, the manual one, obviously. You don't want to get the automatic, which is dropped for 2025 model year. And then you have the manual Toyota Supra as well. I've reviewed both of them. Both are fantastic driver machines. And you also have the boss of Toyota saying that he's starting to see the reality now with EVs. So he wants to go back to more hybrids and more internal combustion engines. And I love to hear that because that is just a fact. That is what people want, specifically when it comes to sports cars. So we're going to have a look at this design. This is a concept shown by Toyota just last year. Let's have a look at this article from Car Scoops. I'm going to link it down below, and then we're going to jump into Photoshop and let you know what I think about this design. So, new Toyota MR2 rumors hint at 400 horsepower and all-wheel drive fun for 2026. And it is a mid-engine car. So to talk of the long-rumored next-gen Toyota MR2 is getting more detail and more prevalent as well. The details are different from the ones we've heard in the past, but could prove true. Several clues indicate that Toyota does have the engineering and interest to build a new MR2, and I think they definitely should do that. Compete with the Porsche 918 and the Lotus Emira, for example. So word on the street is that they've locked down an engine now, a drivetrain layout, and possibly even set a production date. Just last year, Toyota rolled out the FT-SE, pictured here. This is the one we're going to talk about later on. An electrified sports car that gave off some serious MR2 vibes with its design and proportions. And I remember when I first saw this, I thought this is a very, very cool design, mid-engine, but do they really need to make it an electric vehicle? Please make it into an internal combustion engine, or at least, you can make it into a hybrid or something like that. I just want the engine noise and a manual transmission in this, and this is gonna sell like crazy. So, an electrified sports car that get off some serious MR2 vibes with this design and proportions. Earlier this year, we heard that the new rear-wheel drive MR2 was on the way, possibly with an engine similar to the one found in the GR Corolla. I don't think the drivetrain from the GR Corolla would be bad at all here, even though it's just a 3-cylinder. But if we put it's such a fun car to drive, the GR Corolla. It's a fantastic little machine. Even if it just has 3 cylinders, one of the best driver's cars I've driven ever. So, well, that's apparently changed now. We're not getting that. So, according to a report from Japan's Best Car magazine or website, Toyota is now planning to make its next-gen MR2 all-wheel drive, which is fantastic. That is, of course, what the GR Corolla also is. And on top of that, it's going to use its next generation 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, making nearly 400 horsepower in the street legal form and up to 600 horsepower for motorsport use. And this engine will evidently sit in the middle of the car and could end up costing around $70,000. And that is where it's going to definitely hit a little friction there if they put that price tag on here. But at the same time, in today's day and age, if you're going to build a car with a mid-engine, all-wheel drive sports car that is not an EV, they're going to have to charge a little bit more than we're used to seeing maybe 10 years ago for the same package. It would give us another non-hybrid, non-electric mid-engine sports car option. Fantastic, a rarity in today's market. While that might sound a bit wild, Toyota has somewhat notoriously bucked the EV trend that so many others have followed. So Toyota chairman Akio Toyoda here made headlines last year when he said people were finally seeing the reality of EVs. All that points towards the idea that a small displacement MR2 could very well get the green light for production and compete with the Porsche 718 and the Lotus Emira, for example. I definitely hope that they're going to put this into production because I think first of all, it looks good, and I do think we just need more fun cars again in general in the entire industry. Just put this into production and see what happens. People are going to buy it. I can almost guarantee you that. So let's jump into Photoshop here and have a look at this design. Now, these are obviously just renderings, even though they did make a physical model of this, and they actually put out the interior pictures of this, which is very rare to see when we have such an early concept car. And the interior looks a little wild. That's where you can see that this is still just a concept. But looking at the styling here, super chiseled design. Let's make it green so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. Very chiseled and a lot of beautiful chamfers. I really like this LED that goes down here in the front end. It goes all the way down to the wheel. My only concern with this type of integration of a daytime run light that we have like right here going all the way this low is like stone chips and stuff like that just flying from the road ahead of you might maybe, you know, cause some cracks in the LED. I'm not sure. Maybe they figured something out for that. We have big wings in the front end here as well, looking very clean and reminds me, it has a little bit of a connection to the Toyota Supra, but really not a lot of connection to any other Toyota product that I've seen recently. Beautiful chamfer up top here, super sharp shark nose here in the front end. The hood design looks clean as well. Looks like we have some air flowing in here and then potentially flowing up through this little outlet that we have up on the front hood. Looking very clean. We have massive intakes here as well, which sort of hints that maybe we're gonna have a turbo here, intercooler hiding behind this grill in the middle, and then some more cooling on the sides here for the internal combustion engine. And they can then open this up to have this slot here to cool the mid-mounted engines. We have air flowing in right here, and we have the mid-engine positioned in this area right here. So a 3-cylinder or something like that in that area would be absolutely fantastic to see. Now, the side view is definitely my favorite view for this car. I think it has clean, typical mid-engine proportions. Just look at the A-pillar here and this line going from the front end. Almost Lamborghini style here with this line, almost a single line going across the entire car, up, over the roof and then into this beautiful ducktail in the rear end that has a nice send-off to the rear. Beautiful design with the graphics as well. I like this cut that we have in the side here because it creates a little bit more of a unique styling for it instead of just having a cut in the body and have, you know, a regular Gallardo intake right here, something like this. I think this actually looks a little bit more modern and something unique, as I said, just to not have just a simple cut in the body like we're used to seeing in a lot of mid-engine cars. I also like that we have this gray, or orange, I mean, that it cuts in here in the body. And then you can see this line, it goes up here. And does it have a connection to anything else in the body? Yes, it does. And this is what I'm looking for when I'm looking for a good car design when it comes to the styling. Look at this. If we draw this line out, you can see that it has a connection to what's going on up here in this area. And then it dips down back into the back rear end of the car. Just a beautiful design, this. And if you want to learn how to sketch cars and products, my course Analog Designer Pro Pack is now on sale. Just $47 for 11 hours of content. You can check that out down below in the description. Is that something that you're interested in? It's about car design, sketching cars and products as well. So it's not only cars, going through what materials to use, the basic pens and papers, into also a little bit of Photoshop stuff there. So looking at the wheels here, I do like the wheel design, even though I don't think they're entirely black here, but they have this charcoal design, which I definitely prefer. Instead of just having black wheels like every single manufacturers have today, this makes it feel cleaner, and you know, I can also appreciate the design of the spokes better when we have gray instead of black. Now looking at the rear end here, such an aggressive design in the rear, and this is where I can see the $70,000 price tag come in when I look at the details that we have for the rear end design. Almost supercar design with the styling here. I like these chamfers because they're similar chamfers to what we have right here in the front end. And then we have these LED wings almost sticking out in the back, adding a lot of width to this design because they're so wide on each side, just stretching the car out to the end points of the car. And very crisp design. It looks like we have a shelf top up top here, and then it comes back to nicely end this design with this beautiful integrated ducktail that we have going on here. And on top of that, this being a sports car, we need to have a wing, a massive park bench here up top, looking very, very cool. I can't really see the design of the diffusers here. I don't see any exhaust pipes since this was supposed to be an EV, but it looks like we have one fin or aggressive diffuser here, and then of course the same styling here on the other side, looking very, very clean. And also looking very chiseled. I mean, it's not something that I'm used to seeing from Toyota, really. And we also have this line that I forgot to mention in the side view. This line going up here, then wraps around the wheel arch in the front end. So we have sort of an X design here in the side view, looking very cool. Now, as I've said before, one way you can see if this is production ready or not is to just jump in and have a look at what the interior looks like. And this definitely looks very conceptual at the moment. This steering wheel or yoke design that we have going on here looks pretty crazy to me. I would much rather have just a regular steering wheel, maybe with a flat bottom. That's cool. And then we have, it looks to have, not sure if these are displays. I think these are individual displays here on the sides of the steering wheel. It's very minimalistic. I would like to see a little bit more styling for the interior design and not have all this empty space here. I want to see a little bit more I don't know, just some more interesting features going on here in the interior, and just play around with it a little bit more to create some interesting details to look at for the interior. But the texture here, I'm not sure what this texture is. It looks like a recycled fishnet or something like that. Not sure what's going on there. We have a very, very small gauge cluster here, but thankfully it does not just stick up square like this on the dash. They did make some styling for it. But if I think about this interior, being realistic with this interior, I don't think any of this is going to make it into production. It's going to be completely changed for the production version. I also like that we have this little temperature display here on the sides of the vents. It looks very unique and cool. Not sure where the gear selector is in this case. This being an EV, the concept was supposed to be an EV, so we don't have any gear shifter here or paddles on the back. It would be nice to see a huge surfboards behind the steering wheel, something like this for the manual, for the automatic transmission, and then offer it with a manual as well. So overall, very cool news from Toyota. I like the philosophy of Toyota, the boss of Toyota, to just he follows. He doesn't follow what he's what everybody else is doing. He just looks at the numbers and looks at what people really want. What do you want in a sports car? Do you want it to be an EV? Just hit the gas, you hear a whining sound. It doesn't feel like the car cares at all if it goes 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. Or do you want that manual feel, that mechanical feel, and you feel like you're a part of the car when you're accelerating, that when you're pressing the gas, you hear the engine actually making an effort to accelerate you and being part of that experience with the car, you and the car itself. I think that is what most people want in a sports car, and I hope that is the direction Toyota is going to go with the new MR2.